Hi, I'm Georgiana. I have severe remitting relapsing multiple sclerosis. If you're like me, you might have no clue what that means. I didn't before I got the diagnosis. And I am not comfortable on this side of the camera. My degree is electronic media production and management, meaning I was on the other side. It also means I'm not a science person. I was a liberal arts major. So, multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease that attacks the central nervous system. There's this fatty substance, like I need any more of that in my life, called myelin on the the nerve fibers, I guess. Again, liberal arts major. And the best way the disease was described to me was imagine a heavy-duty extension cord going through a yard, and someone comes through and drives over it with a rotting lawnmower. And then someone goes behind that person with duct tape, because I can relate to duct tape. I'm from Appalachia. So sometimes the wires will properly communicate, and sometimes the electricity will still go through. You remember Mate's dog? Good times. But other times it doesn't. And see, I chased doctors for 2 years. And I had degenerative disc disease, I still do, I guess, in my lumbar back. So my MRIs in the tractor trailer MRI in my Appalachian hometown, they kept showing the degenerative disc, and I was losing function in my feet. I now know the word for that is neuropathy. And one of the really weird things was when I scratched my abdomen, it felt like I was scratching through a thick sweater, even when I was scratching straight on my skin. So, my general practitioner back in Appalachia, amazing man. I don't know what that town's going to do when he retires, seriously. Sent me to a neurologist in central Kentucky. And instead of seeing the neurologist, I saw a PA. I know there are some great PAs in the world, not dissing the PAs of the world, but this particular one, when she asked me if I had any other symptoms, because that neurologist didn't see anything in my lumbar MRIs to explain the numbness, I told her about the surface numbness. Not cursing, be proud. She kind of laughed and said, "Well, I don't know what to tell you about that," and sent me on my way. So that was in 2015. 2017, I went to a different GP who was part of a hospital conglomerate. So there was better access to an MRI that was not on a tractor trailer. Hang on. Okay, so where was I? Finally went... So, finally went to a different GP associated with a hospital with better testing abilities. And on the day that I went for my second appointment with her, I had lost control of my bowels and my bladder. That's sexy. That is so sexy. So she sent me over to the ER. The ER doctor just said, "You need to see a neurologist." But ours just quit. Like, okay. So then we played the insurance authorization and waiting game. And finally, I got in front of an amazing doctor. So I finally got in front of an amazing doctor who, in 10 to 15 minutes, told me I either had a severe infection in my spine that would take multiple surgeries to correct, or B, severe multiple sclerosis. I was on a walker at this point. I was so relieved to be in front of a doctor that was taking me seriously, that was taking my symptoms seriously. He saw a shadow at the top of my lumbar MRI, and my description of my surface numbness clued him in greatly. So I was in the MRI, full body scan, with and without contrast, and once they put the cage on my head in the MRI, I just thought shit just got real. I mean, you see that on Grey's Anatomy. I never thought that would be me. So, his office called the next day and said that I needed to get back to Lexington, go to the ER, and have them admit me immediately under his care, that I was about to have an attack. I don't know about you, but I knew nothing about multiple sclerosis. I mean, who knows anything about it? It's a rare disease. Less than 200,000 Americans have it. And that sounds like a lot of people, but when you look at the overall population, not so much. So I went to the ER, and they admitted me. And 4 or 5 days later, after having been moved to the cancer wing because what they were treating me with was considered chemotherapy, along with steroids and everything else, I couldn't walk. And I could barely talk. But the most terrifying thing in that whole experience, one of my doctors, he was an older gentleman, but not old, wore a bow tie, carried the little leather doctor satchel, sat down beside my bed, and he said, "You seem like a curious girl." I'm like, well, I thought to myself, thank you for calling me a girl. So I want to explain to you what's going on and what this disease is doing to you. And I knew I couldn't really walk. And I knew I was having cognitive issues, but I thought it was all the medication they had me on. By the way, that's not my Bob Marley. But when he showed me scans of my brain, and it was just absolutely eaten up, that freaked me out. Because the only thing I'd ever had confidence in was my brain, that I was smart, that I could figure stuff out. Couldn't memorize shit for anything, but I could figure stuff out. So that was daunting, and I still struggle sometimes finding my words. But I hope I kind of explained this disease to you. I'm going to use this as a tool for myself. I hope you all watch. I hope it's not too boring. But I think this is more for me. And if there's another person who is new to this disease, because I mean, my entire life changed on April 21st, 2017. And I'm learning how to live with multiple sclerosis. And I take chemo, and it's a weird life, but I can walk and I can talk. So I am blessed. But if you made it this far, congrats. You'll get a participation trophy. Because we're all pretty. We're all going to prom. I'll see y'all later.